say hello. Good. Is it still morning out in Los Angeles? I think it is. Good morning, Sean Payton joining us now from the site of the Super Bowl, courtesy of Zebra Technologies. Sean, great to have you here. And I looked back at the clock. I did my math here. It's been just a little over 2 weeks since you stepped down. I mean, usually I know you take time off after the season, but I assume it feels different this time. Does it? Can you describe what it's been like, Sean?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me on, Sage. Yeah, it's been quite a whirlwind. You know, when you go through something like this, it's unsettling. You know, I would say sometimes it's probably easier to be fired than to leave because when you leave, there's just a lot of questions relative to why, and I just felt like the timing was right. Almost like you're ready for a few new challenges, and one of the things by being out here this week, the Super Bowl, is I'll have a chance to visit with a few networks and hopefully make some progress with a goal of covering the game. But that requires a bunch of things and like a lot of to-do lists. You know, I've got to return a car. I've got to buy a car. I've never bought a car in the last 20 years. Like normal people stuff. And it's exciting. It's great to be back here and see, you know, so many friends, people that I've worked with before, players that I've coached before. And anytime our season gets to this point of the year, there's that excitement of the final game, and that's just 2 days away.
Well, welcome to the real world where the little people, yes, we buy our own cars and all kinds of crazy stuff like that, right? I want to ask you, though, because you said during the press conference so many interesting things, but that you started to look up online how to not get emotional during such an emotional announcement. What have your emotions been like since making this public? I think,
look, at that press conference, man, I wasn't going to yawn. That was one of the techniques. I was not going to, you know, purposely squeeze a ball. That was one of the techniques. I did have water, and for the most part, it went pretty smooth. And then right at the end, after there were no more questions, there was that finality, and that was difficult. And so periodically, it's really when you're around somebody that you've been with for a while. Sometimes it's hard not to get emotional with somebody that you've worked with for 16 years. So generally it's people driven. You know, it's not like, oh, the emotions of change are taken over. It's really the emotions of seeing someone that maybe you won't see as much of from now on going forward. Yeah, that would be it. And I think those have been happy tears.
Happy tears. There certainly is a difference. Okay, you know, I have a heart out here. I have like 64 more questions for you, but I'm going to have to edit here, Coach, so forgive me. Word association. I have 2 words for you here. Dallas Cowboys. You say what?
Dallas Cowboys, 3 good years as a coach there. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Our kids were growing up, and obviously a successful organization. Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
There's a part, I think, of everybody who says, man, you had such success there. Have you ever thought about the unfinished business aspect of it? We know Jerry Jones has, Sean. I mean, as a man, have you ever thought about that and trying it again?
Here's what I've thought about, honestly, is, look, and I made this pretty clear, I think, in the press conference. There might be a time when I coach again. But I haven't looked at it like any specific team, because obviously most of these teams, all of these teams have coaches now. But, you know, the opportunity to maybe do something as special as we did in New Orleans, again, in another place, that's exciting because that's never been done before. So it hasn't been, honestly, and I understand all the speculation, but it hasn't been team-driven as much as it's been, you know, I know that's something that I can do well, but I also know that in order to do this well, in order to do media well or to do television well, that's going to require, you know, the right type of energy and effort, and that's kind of where the focus is right now.
So first things first, and right now, if you could look back on those 16 years in New Orleans, Sean, you did so much for the city from a football aspect and just the human aspect. What are you most proud of as you put that behind you and look ahead to your future?
I think the culture of the people So there's a lot to that. Obviously, the community that I spent 16 years being a part of, and then all the people, all the players, the families, coaches, administration, all the people that were involved in that run. When everyone brings up that word culture and how do we achieve it, it starts with the right people. And so that would clearly be something that I'm most proud of. Obviously we won a lot of games. We won a Super Bowl. We won a lot of playoff games. But more importantly than that, we won it with people that were like-minded and people that were passionate and people that cared about each other. And so that culture that was developed and kind of sustained for quite a while through the efforts of many would be what I'm most proud of.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.